All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. We are joined by actress Lake Bell. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for being here with me.
We are so excited because really you are here to talk about voice. The art of voice, speaking. You're already giving Rhea goosebumps from the way you sound in the microphone and sound in this room. And you have a audiobook.
Yes.
That is all just, of course, audio inside voice. It's your obsession with just the sound of voice and your own voice. And we've gotten to listen to some of it. And it's fascinating. It takes you, like, you close your eyes and you're just on this trip where you can basically imagine things that are happening, but there's street sounds and strangers and voices, and it's really a fascinating project. Why did you want to get into something like this?
I mean, my first feature that I wrote and directed, called In a World, is about voice, and it totally
In a World.
Exactly. Yes. That's why it's called that. Yep. And I highly recommend.
Really good. Thank you.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
No, well, here's what I'll say. This is an extension of that work. I feel like it's a lifelong obsession with really just see, now I'm acutely aware. But I think that, we carry so much information with our voice, and we're often just looking in the mirror before we leave to go somewhere, and we think, okay, what am I going to wear? What necklace am I? My earrings? Lip am I going to do? But we don't think about our voice as literally the integral mouthpiece to all communication, right? So, excuse me. So, for instance, like, you both carry such a roadmap of these things. Like, you're a tapestry of all of the things that you've experienced, traumas and happinesses, and what your mom sounded like, or what, an auntie that you loved, or whatever, right? It's a multitude of those things, as well as where you live now, where you grew up, right? What borough, it's like pop culture, sure, all of those things inform. But then additionally, it's like there are some choices we make. We kind of like broadcast what kind of friend group we want to have. Sometimes when we style shift, it's often called code switching, but like style shifting a little bit. If maybe you're home or you're with your friends and you're drunk or whatever, you're having a couple drinks, and then I'm from New York, and then maybe my hard D's and T's come out a little bit. It's like a bit of this and a bit of that.
I get real loud.
Yeah.
Long Island.
Long Island. Okay, so where are you guys from? So
I'm from Long Island.
What part?
Nassau.
I'm New Jersey.
New Jersey. Yeah. So what? Like, these are.
Yeah.
I'm from Manhattan, so I love this shit.
Yeah.
And then additionally, both great accents. They are subtle, but probably because also there's a sense of arrival here, right? Like, you're at work, you're articulating probably a little bit better than you would normally, right? There's a sense of you're both acutely aware of what you're doing with your voice. But then there's off-duty, the off-duty versions of your voice, which I'm sure imbue different characteristics,
Right.
Yeah.
And you talk about the fact that, so many people hate the sound of their voice, right? Like we do a podcast for a living, and when we hear him play the audio out loud, we go, no, or I'm like, shut it off.
Yeah.
I can't listen to my voice, which is weird because there are other people listening to our voice. So where do you fall on that? Do you like the sound of your own voice now?
Well, okay. So what's really interesting, what you brought up is so true. And I think that's one of the seed of the thought on the book was, why is there such a collective self-loathing?
Yeah.
For our own voice? It's unbelievable, actually. And then also, to boot, a lack of self-awareness of it. So it's like, oh God, is that what I sound like?
Yeah.
There's that. And then there's the like, oh God, don't play it back, right? And I think it's because we have, and I will answer your question about how I feel about my voice, but I think because the voice that you're hearing as you speak is reverberating off of the skeletal structure of your skull. Okay, so it's like bouncing against the walls of that structure, and it feels a bit deeper, a little more resonant. It sounds different than when it's played back. It's just true. So with that is unsettling.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't sound as as I'm speaking now, I'm thinking, oh, this is what it sounds like. And then when it's played back, there's that disassociation. But or disconnect, I should say. But really, I'm so, because I write, I've done 2 feature films that I've written and directed and star in, right? So I'm not squeamish anymore about performance in general. So voice kind of falls under that a little bit, just because I've had to kind of be so objective with myself. You know?
Right. And I do think that it is such a weird, it's a crazy phenomenon. And especially for the two of us who, you know, this is a podcast mostly. Yes, there's a visual element and people can watch it, but most people listen to it. So we have had multiple instances where we're out in public and somebody comes up to us and they say, you know, I couldn't tell if it was you until I heard you speak, and then I knew it was you. And I was like, I can't believe that is my recognizable feature. Is something that I never thought was that special. Is probably the most recognizable thing about the both of us.
And do you guys warm up before work?
No,
but
we talk
just
so much anyway.
Talking.
But what's so interesting?
I lose my voice a lot.
Well, I was going to say, so you have a specific rasp to it.
Yeah, I lose my voice a lot.
You do, and so I would just argue as a vocal friend,
yes,
that you know, you are in the business of voice, and that think about like when you go to the gym or something, and you're about to like, I'm going to do CrossFit, you know, like you wouldn't just cold do CrossFit. I mean, you got to stretch your hammies or something, you know, don't fuck it up.
Yep.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like if you had, you know, just gave your voice a little love, a little stretching, a little bit of, you know, sort of dropping your breath and like allowing for you to kind of open up your vocal mechanism, hot tea, all that shit. But that kind of like love and care, a little vocal self-care.
Yeah.
We need to get on that.
I do.
Yeah,
because you're talking from that point of view. You know,
And this is I'm in good shape right now. We're, you know, there's Mondays that I come in here sometimes after sports games,
sure,
events. And
my voice changed.
Of course.
Yeah.
So
okay, talk me through it.
Okay, I spoke one way forever, actually my voice was a lot raspier.
It was a little bit
when I was younger.
Okay.
Then for years, you know, spoke one way, and then last summer, something happened. I don't know what it was. We went on break.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then
you're gonna have to expand on this.
I was
a little bit.
What?
Did it drop?
Yeah, like
Your
I
pitch
think
went
I
down?
like partied a little bit, you know. All of a sudden came back, my voice was different. And now when people it really is. And now when people listen to the podcast, they laugh because they're like, when we listen to old episodes, your voice sounds so different.
Okay. And mainly in pitch, do you find?
Yeah, I think it's just like
It's just a little lower.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. So, for instance, like off the truck, my voice is probably a bit higher than when I arrive here for you, and I'm talking to you guys, and I'm asking for some level of you to trust my authority in something, right? Like I'm talking about a project, and it's kind of important. You know, it's important to me, and you know, and so I've lowered I feel that I naturally will lower my pitch. That said, I've had 2 children, and hormonally as you do grow up and as you you change, your voice does kind of mature and become richer. And that's why when you think about, like, it was so unreal when a 19-year-old Lauren Bacall had a voice of a woman, you know, and it's like, wow, what's up with that? You know, that was very sexy at the time, you know, and of course our views of what's sexy has shifted somewhat, and that's what I guess brings me to the sexy baby voice.
Right. That's I wanted to bring that up because you do have a whole part 2 of your book is about the sexy baby voice, and it's funny too because I think Taylor Swift just had a new album come out and she uses sexy baby in a line, and everyone was like, "What is she talking about?" And when I saw that, I was like, "This is exactly what she's talking about."
Yeah, I know, it's really funny. When I first started doing press for this, that's when her album came out, and then of course it was like, oh, do you know about Taylor Swift? And I was like, they were like, are you friends with her? And I was like, I not that I know of, but you know, the night is young, you know?
Yes.
No, but it definitely, there is a moment there, it's a bit zeitgeisty in that, you know, where it's like, yeah, we're aware of it.
Yeah.
You know, in a world I made in 2013, and I was already sort of, it's all in a world as well, where this idea of sexy baby, this kind of amalgamation, this little cocktail of vocal affectation, which is really pitch shift up and the vocal fry, and then, of course, the up talk. So the upspeak, which is everything up at the end. So it's like, the rules are that there are no rules.
Yeah.
And
Sounded like somebody from The Bachelor.
yeah, right. And so it's prevalent it's really sort of rampant in reality.
Yeah,
TV.
I heard a lot of clips, reality TV clips.
Well,
I felt
it's
that
fantastic.
you had
I mean,
used.
I'm in awe of it.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, I do have qualms with it from feminist bent a little bit, because obviously it's harkening back to a time when you were a little tiny submissive female self, and then it also additionally is like bedroom talk, so like that combo fucks with me. But that said, I kind of feel like all women should speak however the fuck they want to speak.
Yeah.
So I'm in direct conflict on that. But I shall say, I do feel like the best case study of it is that lady from Love is Blind. I think it's like it's so fantastic, because that's what I'm in awe of. It's like, it's athletic. It's like hard to do that voice.
I mean, look at Paris Hilton, right? Like you see her in interviews, and
she's incredible.
There's
That's an
moments
amazing
when
example.
she goes to her regular voice, and it's deep and has a lot of like rasp and sound to it, but she can turn on the baby voice like I mean, that's
she's
her
genius.
voice.
Yeah,
that's
like she talks about it all the time.
I was explaining this to my boyfriend the other day because we were watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I was like, Kathy Hilton is Paris Hilton's mom, and I'm like, have you ever seen the Paris Hilton documentary? She does not. I was going on about how much of a genius she is, because she created basically this whole other character
based on her voice.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
on a voice alone, right?
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's the word that's hot, but it's also how it's said. That's hot.
Yep, exactly.
And I think that, I remember just kind of being in awe of that. Wow, sure, it's the whole package, but it's also that voice is so unique. And then it became, in the book, I kind of unfurl the origin story of the sexy baby, because we start at Betty Boop. Because also, guys, Betty Boop is for kids, and it's kind of like a sexualized doll that's also a baby. Like, it's so confused, and she's talking like, she's all kooky. Anyway, so the point is, it's a wild ride to get us to this incredible kind of vocal affectation that is so rampant.
How did you learn so much about the voice?
I think the voice, because I went to drama school. I went to a conservatory in UK when I was like 18 for work, and just because it was my passion, and voice was already kind of in my interests. I remember being a little kid and like making adults laugh with accents and dialects and shit like that. And then, if you're gonna make an adult laugh as a kid, you're like, I'm gonna hold on to that trick. And, I remember there was one adult who was like, you got a good ear, kid. You got a good ear. It's a good ear. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Like, I have a good ear. And then that parlayed into just a multitude of characterizations with voice and voice play. And then at drama school, it was like, oh, how can I wield this tool? And of course, when I got to college, I was in the UK, and they were like, you've got to get rid of your strong accent. It's so strong. And I was like, what are you talking about? You have the accent. They're like, no, you're it's American. It's so bad. And I'm just like, wow, okay. And that got me thinking, oh, that's so interesting, because we're so ethnocentric. We think that our American voices are kind of the baseline, the neutral, right? But it's not. It's a strong accent.
And there's so many layers to just an American accent, like you said, where we're from, we're in the Midwest. Like, I went to a speech pathologist because I did acting as a kid, and they were like, you sound like
fix the Long Island accent.
50-year-old Long Island woman who smokes. Like, you need to sound Midwest. And so I had to go every week, and they would hand me like worksheets and a voice recorder, and which is weird because I don't think I've seen a voice recorder since maybe I was 11 or 12 years old. And they would make me record my voice and how I sound now, which, because I've completely gotten out of it. Like, I don't. Sometimes I'll. Because now
it comes and goes.
It comes and goes because, like, I say coffee, but I know it's coffee. Like I know how they taught me to say it.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
well, say it.
Yeah.
Say it. It came out there. Like
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
interesting. And that's in like music, but in the music of your voice. But then also, you know, because we'd say, that's how I say it. And then I like hearing I see, because I'm very pro regionalism. I'm like, I want to hear your fucking accent.
Yeah,
I want to
right.
hear where you're from.
I think it adds character.
Yeah.
Which is why once I got older, I was like, okay, fuck
Love
whatever
it.
I learned
Older.
there.
Yeah. Love those D's. Nice.
Yeah.
Do you watch a lot of ASMR or listen to ASMR?
Tell me where you're going with this.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I don't, but I'm more. But I'm down. I'm down to boogie. Give me
Yeah.
some Rex.
I just think it's so.
Who does the series
Yeah.
that you like?
W Magazine.
Yeah,
does,
yeah.
Different
You have to do. I think you have to do
would
So
be
that.
what is
great
it
at that.
like? Vocal.
So
because I love so for meditation, you know, I do. Once you get to the end of the book, you'll see something in this realm. You'll be very happy. But you know, my kids at night, sometimes they just can't sleep. So, you know, mom will pull up the big boots and like bring out the meditation voice. I'm like, everything in your body is warm.
see, I got it. That ASMR, it's like a feeling, which I always sound like such a dick when I say this because it's like some people feel it and some people don't. But it's true. Some people get the chills in their head, but some people don't.
Oh, interesting.
And I've read a lot about it because I couldn't figure out what that feeling was when I was a kid and I would be in school and a teacher would say something and I would like get chills in my head, or they would write on the board or whatever it was, and I would get like this weird.
I kind of don't. You're kind of teaching me about it because I actually don't.
I would get this
know.
weird feeling like chills down my spine, down my head, whatever.
But
and
positive?
Yes,
Okay.
like you just feel so relaxed. So I do use it to sleep sometimes. Where then I found out, I forgot how I found out about it. Where I saw like ASMR and it explained what it was, and I was like, I think that's the feeling I get. And I looked more into it, watched videos, and it's just something that relaxes you. And if you do feel that feeling, then it's something that helps you. It's very weird, and I'm not like a pro on it, but if you just like YouTube ASMR videos, W Magazine does it, like if they'll have
But that also
like an
is,
actress
like,
come
sounds,
in.
right?
Yes, it's different. Like
It's
it's
not
a
a whispering.
like a whisper. Like
it can be
you
like
go like this,
like a tapping, like a nails.
Yeah.
welcome to Chicks in the Office.
Yeah.
And then it's like
Like a sound bath, like the yes.
and it's just little
Yeah.
taps, little things, like they'll brush hair. I don't know, it's weird, but I love it.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because voice as an ASMR, right? Mechanism, because that would just be one instrument, right? Because you're speaking of like, you know, that's ASMR, right? So like ice in a cup or whatever. But this is the thing is our voices are so pliable, and it's really I love that you shared the story that your voice had kind of evolved and you kind of don't know how, and I find that really cool because it means we're in a constant state of, you know, shifting and changing based off of just growth, right? Your experiences that summer or whatever got you to this sound, and that's fucking growth, you know? And should we have the privilege to grow in so many ways, but our voice also is a reflection of that.
Yeah, and you've gotten to do so many cool voiceover projects as well as, you know, on camera projects. How do you prepare differently for a voiceover project?
I stretch and I drink tea.
Yeah,
and
Better start stretching.
I really better start stretching.
it's the idea is like, yeah, there's a sense. Oh.
Don't worry, people are yelling in this office all the time.
Yeah.
Knock it off.
Yeah.
Please tell them.
Yeah.
No, I you know, the only preparation that I really do is a vocal warm up.
Okay.
You know, just even in the car like a maniac as I'm driving to go do, you know, Harley Quinn to be Poison Ivy or something. You know, it's like I just do like a full, you know, articulation exercises and making sure my breath is supported, because those are long sessions. It's like 3 hours long sometimes, and it's just nonstop. So it's really preservation. You know? I respect my tool.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, the superhero thing is very cool. I know you have been involved in the Marvel world now and with What If, and potentially Black Panther.
I'm allowed to say
you can
now.
say it
Yes,
now,
yeah.
and the movie
Good.
comes out so soon. Wakanda Forever. I'm a massive Marvel girl.
You are
I
going
love them.
to love this movie.
I am so excited. How did you get involved in just the Marvel universe?
I mean, the What If series was really cool. Again, Black Widow is played by Scarlett Johansson, right?
Yeah.
And her voice, iconic.
Yeah.
Super raspy, has that deepness. And when going to animated, it was like, okay, we want to have that kind of tenor, right? And I was like, oh, okay. And I love Scarlett personally, and I think the character's great. So I was like, yeah, I feel like I could do a version of this, especially since I'm well versed in the animated world, and so it made sense that I could kind of be an extension of that in that space. But yeah, and then for Wakanda Forever, Ryan Coogler is the director, and Ryan and I were in the same class at Sundance for our first films. 2013, he was there with Fruitvale Station, and I was there with In a World. And so we were together, and so we've kind of. I just saw him actually on CBS Mornings, and I was just like, man, look at us. But every day that I joined him on the set, because I do have a small role in Wakanda Forever, and it's fucking awesome. But yeah, I just every day like a dork, I'd just be like, dude,
This is insane.
He's like, I know it's my second one, and I'm just like, this is fucking nuts. But I think we have that sense of play and camaraderie. I think once you're at Sundance, you have a tight knit group of filmmakers each year, and you just feel like a sense of sort of
like
kinship.
a graduating class.
Exactly.
It's very cool. I can't wait to see the movie. I'm so excited. People have been waiting for it for so long, but
Yeah.
we're such a fan of you, and those you've had some absolutely iconic romantic comedies that we are so obsessed with. I still quote it to this day, and people either get it or they don't, but in What Happens in Vegas,
You know why.
you know why.
I knew it would be
You
that.
know why.
People still come up to me like at the airport, and
It
they're like,
kills me.
you know why? And I'm
That's
like,
You do it back?
I do. I go, you know why? I give it to them every time. Yeah.
junk punch.
Yeah,
They're
junk
like, do
punch.
the line.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
punch you in the junk. I'm so sorry, but I just have to do it authentically. So
Exactly, and it's Jason Sudeikis, and that
I know.
last scene is so funny.
I mean, Rob Corddry, in that movie is so funny.
Yeah,
And
he
he's
is.
kind of like my counterpart in it. And by the way, I ended up doing 2 movies with Ashton like within the next few years,
right.
because then it was
No Strings
Attached,
Attached, yeah.
which is another.
Believe me, we know.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I
romantic
just watched that
comedy.
recently because they put it on Netflix.
Oh,
It's on Netflix.
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, so like Corddry. Okay, fun fact: in What Happens in Vegas, did you see the final scene of us? What actually happened in the chapel?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like it's a 7-minute long take of
Yes.
basically Cameron and Ashton just hammered, just Hamityville horror
Yes.
up on the altar. And then it's Corddry and I.
And you guys are like heavily
Yeah,
patting.
heavily
Yes.
just
yes,
like
yes.
saliva all over each other's faces. At one point, I don't know if it was in the cut, but I spit in his mouth.
Yeah.
And I remember we were friends or whatever. And but I was just like, hey man, I think I'm gonna spit in your mouth. I just want to try. Like, are you down for that? And he was like, oh, yeah, right on. And I was like,
Honestly, the perfect place to try it. If you're
It
gonna
was
try it, why not?
Yeah.
it was absolute madness. And I just remember they just left the cameras running, and we were just improvising and just bullshitting. And I was like, I don't even know how far they better call cut, because
Right.
it's just, this is a mess in here.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't drunk, but it really felt
like it.
yeah.
At that point, though, isn't it almost a little less nerve-wracking to be making out so wildly versus like a really sensual, intimate kiss? Because you're like,
absolutely.
we just got to go for it, like, and just be as
Yeah.
dirty and messy as we look, it's
Yeah.
gonna be even better.
Oh yeah, the more like commitment to raunchiness and
Yeah.
ridiculousness it's gonna work. And you're right, it's far more intimate to be like, and
Yeah.
then like,
Right. You have to make sure it looks good. Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
how do I
you're
look
like-
kissing on the camera?
yeah, exactly. This is like, I mean, I have so many jobs in my past where it's just like, you know, I mean, even in a world at one point, you know, Ken Marino's like, he in a take he sucks my nose as a makeout
Yeah.
thing. But we do it super tender, so it's like you think like, oh, he's gonna come in for the and then nope, he goes in for the nose. And Ken Marino did that on the day, and I had to cut out I am like wanting to laugh so hard. And then so I said to him after the take, he was like, was that okay? And I was like, it was so fucking funny. I think you have to do it
Yeah.
because I think
It was that good.
I
Yeah.
I want the audience to be like, wait, did that just happen? And then fuck yeah, I doubled down, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, it was really, really fun. And yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I love these stories.
It's
Is
so
there one role that you haven't taken on yet, or a voice that you're just dying to do?
I mean, you know, there are always there are so many fucking voices that I haven't gotten to yet. But that said, I don't know. It's interesting. I want to take on a real life character one day, you know, and in live action and try to work and manipulate my voice to kind of emulate an iconic voice. That would be really fun. You know, I talked to Drew Barrymore in the book about her iconic voice, and then her having to take on Grey Gardens, the vocal kind of dialect that her character had, and it was kind of extraordinary for someone who already has an iconic voice to iron out enough to emulate someone else's. Like, I find that to be kind of the be all end all of all vocal kind of, you know,
Right.
North Stars, you know.
So like a biopic type kind of
like
project,
something where you're like,
yes.
ooh,
Yeah.
okay, like that's really cool.
Right.
And I love
Look at Austin Butler. He talks like Elvis now.
I know. I would drop.
That's
I mean,
his permanent voice.
Yeah.
It seems.
He became Elvis.
Listen, it suits him.
Yes, it does.
We can't really argue it.
Yeah.
But in Man Up, have you seen Man Up?
Yes.
Okay, so that was really fun for me because mastering an accent and dialect through and through so that it's so seamless that you can improvise within it. That is my happy place. So it's like,
Right.
if I ever take on an accent, and there are so many that I haven't done yet, like really mastering Australian or New Zealand, like I haven't done that yet. So in future, I hope I get an opportunity again to really, in the way that I kind of holistically took on the accent in Man Up,
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not just memorizing a line
Correct.
with an accent. It's being able to just speak whatever comes out of your mouth.
Yeah, because if you're in a movie with Simon Pegg, you want to be able to like ping pong with Simon Pegg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want him to say something. You're like, I'm sorry, fucking, I only have that line.
Yeah.
You know, like you want to be able to like, you know, fucking say whatever. You know.
Yeah.
And so I think that makes it really fun. It's almost like putting on a wardrobe. It's like putting on a costume. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I've put on this gorilla suit and now I'm a gorilla. You know, it's like,
Right.
it needs to be embodied head to toe.
Do you find when you are working with someone like Simon that you want to speak like him because
I mean, I because I'm so vocally self-aware, I don't tend to emulate. I don't, grab onto other people's accents
Okay.
unless we are playing, you know.
Okay.
So it's like, I'm sorry, you know. And this is also a thing where in the book we talk about code switching. It's commonly known code switching, but style shifting, I have now learned, is what I'm really talking about. And that is the idea that when you go home, you might speak differently to all your girlfriends from
Right.
high school
Right.
than you do, say, if a New York Times reporter was going to come and do a review of the show. Right. Right.
That happens to us all the time.
Hey, when,
Yeah.
when it's the summer and we're watching 9 million hours of Love Island UK, like you turn it off and
I come in here
all you
saying,
want to
"Mate."
do is be able to speak in that accent, and you're a failure.
Right.
We can't do it. But
Well, there are some people, you know, the style shifting also comes into, it can be more serious as well. There's profiling going on all the time, whether unconsciously or consciously, with people's voices, right? Like if you for instance, your parents, okay, when they ask you or whoever asked you to change to kind of iron out your accent in order to be what? Neutral? No, there is no neutral, because it's a controversial subject. You had an American accent when you were a kid. You just, yes, it's regionalized, and it's of your borough or whatever. It's your city, but that's still American.
I blame the manager.
The manager. Okay. Well, it's not really their fault.
Yeah, no.
Because at the time, right, that would have been it would have been very customary to do that. I know so many people that way. I mean, even growing up, my mom would say, you're being a little hard on the D's and T's, because she just grew up in a time. She actually grew up in Long Island, and she wanted to kind of iron things out too. Yeah. And because on TV, you're seeing news media, you're seeing, the Gilmore Girls, whatever. You're seeing what success sounds like, right? And it doesn't sound like that, necessarily. Now, these days, thank God it sounds like that. Yeah. It sounds like anything.
Sounds like anything you want.
Anything you fucking want. And thank God,
Right.
But that's been a long, bumpy path to get there. Yeah. But that said, I think it still occurs. We look at the news and we hear that really ironed out. We do not hear super regional accents, right? Really, really guilty of it in UK. They have like the Queen's English up there on the BBC, and it's tradition. People are used to it. Fine, but it is kind of broadcasting this message that this is what you should be.
Yep.
That's baseline. Yeah. Well, it's not. It's just so rarefied, those accents.
Yeah. Well, this is fascinating.
I find this all to be
we could talk
so
to you about this for forever. We're going to wrap up.
Okay.
We would love for you to tell everyone how they can purchase the audiobook, listen. It's a very easy process.
It's very easy, and also it's just a good listen, because at the end of the day, it's like Goldblum, Jeff Goldblum,
so fascinated by
Stu Yasmin, who's like, what the fuck, Larry?
I was listening when I was getting ready this morning. I loved it.
It's the best. It's just voices. It's the thing that we actually all are kind of like nerding out on at all times. Like, we enjoy it. Anyway, so you can get it on Audible. I mean, that's where I often listen to my audiobooks and my podcasts on Audible. And you can also get it on Libro. You can also get it at Pushkin. Pushkin is like our distributor or whatever.
Great.
So it's easy to get. Inside Voice. My obsession with how we sound.
Perfect. And you can listen to it right in your podcast app or Audible app, whatever you guys have. So definitely go check that out. Inside Voice by Like Bell. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you for teaching us something.
Hold on that regionalism. Yes.
We will.
All right.
Vocal exercises.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. We all have some homework.
Yep.
All right. Take care.